go to market on a budget. When funding is limited, how do you structure product rollouts and validate the market?
Launching this crowdfunding is perfect. It validates also your product, and that's why we chose crowdfunding. That allows you really to get a lot of focus groups. Those 5 people meeting, were so important to get feedback, and you being close to the end consumer, to the client, is very important for us. That's one way. We do a lot of surveys, getting some feedback of what the people would expect in a circular watch.
How do you see this concept of failing forward? What is it for you?
For me, the only way I learn is by failing. I need to fall straight on my face before something gets internalized and I actually start getting it. When it works, when it clicks, you're like, okay, now I learned how to talk about, how to package my product, my solution, and I know via which channels and via which channels I shouldn't promote it. And as we say in breaking and hip hop, each one teach one. So with Break For You, we're making breakdance accessible to everyone, partnering with cultural organizations throughout the entire country, and we even do our own event where you can see kids shine, be creative. We're partnering up with school partners, making breakdance accessible for everybody.
Hello and welcome to Pitch Lab, a podcast with a pitch, powered by Friends of Bata, where entrepreneurs from all over the world with different backgrounds, styles, and businesses share their failures and their passion for entrepreneurship and impact. I am your host, Enrique, a Mexican-Swiss entrepreneur who spent over 20 years building, breaking, and investing in startups around the world. Pitch Lab is your safe space for honest and unfiltered conversations about what it really takes to build something from scratch and to share epic failures and glorious mess. Where Gen Z founders with fresh ideas connect with millennial entrepreneurs who have been through the trenches and they don't hold back. Today's episode is called Go to Market on a Budget with Nico and Kenny. So let's dive in. Today we are running the episode title, Go to Market on a Budget. Without more, I'm gonna invite them to introduce themselves. So Kenny, tell us more about you.
Yes, thank you. Hello, everybody. So my name is Kenny. I'm currently 23 years old and from the Netherlands. I've always had a big interest in entrepreneurship. My parents tell me that since I was like 6 years old, I told them I wanted to be a businessman. And in school, I already knew, okay, this is the path I'm going to take. I need business economics. Then I studied entrepreneurship, launched a few businesses, had a lot of fun. And yeah, surround myself with a lot of entrepreneurs and having a lot of fun with it.
Thanks for that. Nico, tell us a little bit of your story.
Yeah, no, thank you, Enrique, for the invitation. Great to know you, Kenny. Also, I'm amazed by how young you are. This is good. We need young entrepreneurs. I'm a bit older, so I've studied hospitality in Lausanne, and then worked corporates, as you mentioned, in marketing for 4.5 years old. And then, coming back to the sort of the start of ID Genève, why did we do that? I think we had the idea, of a watch brand. We wanted to do a watch brand with one of my best friend, Cedric, co-founder of the brand. And from there, we went on to do it, 15 years later, but still, we're very happy to do so and looking forward to the discussion today.
How do you manage to create your communications that are impactful? What is the kind of moments where you feel that the failure was not a failure, but it becomes something?
I think for me, it was a change of personal situation. I was working corporates, and from one day to the other, my salary is cut definitely. So you learn how to live with less. I think, first of all, that's the reality, and you can live with much less than you think, and you become lean. And I think that was really perfect for me because, launching a watch brand, a new watch brand, I think people just thought it was impossible. There's already so many watch brands out there. So what we decided to do, is how do we mitigate that, right? And together we decided to use one tool that exists nowadays but didn't exist in the past, which is crowdfunding. And so we rapidly came to this solution, and we launched in December 2020. on a Swiss platform, mentioning, we wanted to work with local platforms also. We didn't use Kickstarter. And we, for a full month, like in 2 days, in 48 hours, we reached 100% of the objective.
Wow,
And after a month,
that's impressive. How much
thank you.
time do you dedicate before? How was
Yeah, no,
this?
so yeah, I quit my job in the summer of 2019 and started working on the project. Then came COVID also, so that came after our idea, just because a lot of people are asking, is it COVID that made you quit your job? No, it was like before that. But obviously we had a bit of delay, and then decided really in the second wave of COVID to launch this crowdfunding. And I think, as you said, how do you turn down, something that you see can be negative to something positive, right? And COVID for us in Switzerland at the time, you could only, so we did one event for the launch. It was December 3rd in Zurich. That was our only event. But in Geneva, you could not run events, So what we did is actually we got small groups of people. It was up to 5 people that could meet in person. But that actually helped the crowdfunding campaign, because you got quality time, with this group of 5, and we actually had, much higher rates of conversion in terms of sales, and I think, yeah, that was very critical for us. And then in the end, we raised about 500,000 in a month of pre-sale for about 175 watches, or the founding members collection. And that's how we launched ID Genève in
Wow.
2020.
Very, very impressive. Kenny, you are a really entrepreneurial guy and a mindset, right? You study it. You did your studies on this. How do you see this, concept of failing forward? What is it for you?
Failing forward. Well, for me, the only way I learn is by failing. I need to fall straight on my face before something gets internalized and I actually start getting it. So I think it's very important. In the moment, you're like, shit, I don't like this. Sometimes feels kind of dreadful when things go bad, or you see the money go down the drain. But those are the lessons and the pains that, stay the longest. So yeah, they're valuable. With entrepreneurship, it's all about experimenting. You need to try pretty much everything until you find out what works and what doesn't work. So you can focus on the stuff that does work and move on with that. So yeah, trial and error.
And what did help you when you were building your business to actually develop that, right? Like, what was the failure that make you develop Break for you?
We had a skill, people thought it was interesting, and they asked us to do a job for it. The first job I ever had was for some Kurdish music video. Some guy saw us performing in a mall, and he hit my dance teacher up and asked about me and my other co-founder if we could join their music video. So yeah, actually for us, it wasn't really, I'd say, a failure that got us started and getting us into it, but it was more just being out there, networking, embracing opportunities. And later on, we started making all the mistakes and learned about, how to run a business, what does work, what doesn't work. So that came later on for me.
That's very, very interesting because, following your passion and creating a business around it. I think the 3 of us here share the passion for dancing. I mean, it's something that is part of our DNA. Drive me through what is the emotional part of dancing that you can connect to your life of entrepreneurship, Nico.
Yeah, no, like listening to Kenny, I think, for me, it's also about your conviction, something that drives me every day also as an entrepreneur is, doing what I like to do, and I'm as comfortable in the world of dancing salsa as in the world of watchmaking, and it's pretty unusual because they don't go together if you think so first. But then, I think for me, salsa is really something that brings me a lot as an entrepreneur in terms of, releasing the tension, thinking about outside and bringing me back to earth, and really with a very genuine human connection. I think that's what drives me to dance also every day, and that makes me also happy as my venture.
And do you see a way to learn from that? Like, what are the failures in the business and really also in the salsa moves that you have learned in order to be a great dancer? Yeah.
It's a very good question. So first, like in social dancing, I love that you go out there. You can go by yourself, and then you ask people to dance with you. So you ask for consentment, and then obviously you get some no's, and you have to live with it. And
Rejection, yes.
exactly, no, but and that's totally fine. And I think this is again a great learning, and it's also about asking dancer you think at the beginning oh, she's gonna be such a great dancer, do I have the level to dance with her? And you're just like, yeah, actually I'm gonna go for it and just enjoy the dance, and she will enjoy the dance, and having the courage also of asking out a specific dancer. I think this is also definitely, I see a link with the entrepreneurs. Is really daring, sort of a daring to do and daring to experience. And I think that's what we do also every day at ID.
Totally. And in this sense of speaking with, for example, brands that are more positioned or have all the recognition in the market, how do you react to those kind of negative or failures when you try to partner with them or when you try to embrace a different strategy together? I'm trying to bring the rejection from sometimes getting a no on dancing to the rejection to building partnerships that are meaningful in the watchmaking industry. Is there any failure that you have on that sense?
For sure, and I think every day we have people that come to even to our showroom, and they see the watches and they're like, yeah, you know what, it doesn't fit with my values or my lifestyle or my just my style also, and it's fine, and I'm like, yeah, no problem, I think you should buy a watch that you really want, and I think that's very important. So yeah, that's how it fit actually with a consumer. Now with other brands, we have a lot of discussion, and it's very positive. So I would say we get a lot of yes while dancing with them. Yeah, the feedback is quite positive, because as always, if you're positive in your tone of voice, we're not pointing any fingers at the industry. We're quite positive. We want the Swiss-made watch industry to be here in 250 years, and we're here to really add up, and we're here to co-create. And I think if you come with this mindset as you're coming onto the dance floor, if you come with a positive energy on the dance floor,
Yeah.
the dance can only go well,
Just building on that, what is the failure that you learned through this process?
There's many failures as an entrepreneur. As you said, we do a lot of test and learn, right? And I think test and learning is so important, right? To know also what works. First, we've tried a lot of digital, talking about that. I think as a newcomer in the watch industry, there's a lot of newcomers that invest a lot of budget in digital, and it's super competitive, and what we found to be working better in the end, which is, more earned media, which is, with our authentic story, that's where we get the power. And so we did spend a lot of money that we should have spent elsewhere there. But again, I think this is good learning. Now we know how it works. And yeah, that's one example of it. But then I would have a lot also in terms of the design, in terms of working with suppliers. Obviously, we only see the highs, and we don't see the lows on our website. But obviously, we've had some issues with some supply. But I think what keeps us going is really the resilience, on finding also in the supply chain, in the different stakeholders around ID Genève is really finding the right partners where we see the value aligns, and that's really being a key success criteria so far.
I see. Kenny, at Break for You, you're blend culture, community, energy with impact. How do you monetize it? What is the scalability and how these communities get compromised?
Our biggest stream of revenue still is the way that we started. Teach people breakdance via workshop. We also do shows for events, theater shows, stuff like that. So that is the biggest part of our revenue stream. But as I'm building out our business model, we're starting to build like a bigger ecosystem. So what we're doing right now is we had a lot of workshops we're doing. And right now I'm funneling all the people we reach via the workshops. I'm recruiting them, come join our weekly breakdance classes. So they all come to our weekly breakdance classes. There they become a paid member of our own dance school.
Got it.
And now we got a big community. And as soon as we want to do like an event, our own breakdance battle, we can just send one text in our WhatsApp community, and we already have 200 to 300 people lined up to buy a ticket and come to our event. So we're starting to build out an ecosystem. We're doing a lot of cool projects, which are subsidized by all the cultural partners we have in the Netherlands. So yeah, there's a bigger ecosystem we're building towards, building a cool community, and we're doing all sorts of cool projects where different revenue streams are involved.
I love that part of the ecosystem. And I think you both aim for building something that is meaningful. Nico, what is the first thing that people from the ecosystem is looking for?
I think first, it's aesthetics. It's always aesthetics first, I think, in that industry. And then obviously, so we are always trying to create a beautiful timepiece first.
Yeah.
And obviously after that, what our main focus is on having the least impact possible, right? And because we're addressing this product to millions of people wanting to get better every day, and wanting to have a more circular lifestyle. And I think that's the expectation that we're meeting at the moment.
And when funding is limited, how do you structure product rollouts and validate the market?
That's a very good question. Like I think launching this crowdfunding, it's perfect. It validates also your product, and that's why we chose crowdfunding. That allows you really to get a lot of focus groups. Those 5 people meeting. Were so important to get feedback, and being close to the end consumer, to the client is very important for us. That's one way. We do a lot of also surveying. Getting some feedback of what the people would expect in a circular watch.
How many times do you need to produce or have a prototype to get the last one? How many failures do you need to make in order to have a real last one?
Let's take one tangible example, because we're working a lot with eco materials, so we've partnered up with Biophilica in London. Mira is working with the green waste from London parks to create an alternative to leather, vegetable textile. And with her, we've done 57 prototypes. So it's really 57
Wow.
57 failures until we get the right recipe and the right results, some testing. And I think that was, work. And we've been partnering with her, for the last 3 years. And we're proud to now offer, first straps who are after the life cycle of the strap, are taken back and then put it into industrial compost in Switzerland. And we produce biomethane with that in Switzerland. So the idea is, again, to close the loop on some of the materials and take them back at the end of the life cycle of the watch strap. And that's also first in the industry. And again, it's in the end, it's not very important, the 80 straps that we'll take back this year and put them back there. But again, it's the message that goes a long way, when you decide to go for this strap.
Kenny, how do you engage with the people and make them feel that they're part of the vision of breaking for you?
A good question. That's still something where we're working towards. It's all about show, don't tell. You could ask them, oh, please be part of this or that. But what we're doing, we're just young action takers. We just provide the community a lot. at least every month, almost every week, we come up with new opportunities. Hey, we organized a workshop for you, get some extra training, and oh, we have a free session here. Oh, we got our kids free entry to this breakdance event. We're doing this. Oh, we're going to a trampoline park. Come join us. We're always creating new opportunities. It's all free. So I think we're inspiring them by showing them how cool it is, all the stuff that we're doing, and taking them actually along for the journey. And that way they can experience it and feel the power and feel the vision instead of me trying to write the perfect vision statement.
I can feel it. I like the way you express it, because it's a passion, and you transform that and invite people to become part of that passion. And I think one of the key elements that you were mentioning in the beginning, you give without expecting. In this sense of giving, Nico, and back to the point of all the failures you need to have for a production, is there an example where you give too much, either to a partner or someone who was working with you, and did not work? You didn't get back what you were looking for?
Because you're trying to create an impact, you're always, evangelizing too much on impact and not focusing on, being a successful commercial brand, right? Because obviously we want to build something else, and something more meaningful than typically just sales. But that's perhaps one of the way where, sometimes I know some of our investors are saying that, we should be more focused on, selling watches, and but I think, it's something that goes with it, that you learn. But I agree that, we should be focusing on being a successful commercial project, and, things will follow along in terms of impact. Yeah.
This question is for both, and I will ask maybe Kenny to start. If you could have a magic wand that gives the startup founders a playbook rule for go-to-market, what would that be?
Well, first came to mind is try and never give up. I think that's the most important.
But I think, Kenny, what you said also, and I think the magic one would be, again, to give one specific to this entrepreneur for the timing of his life, and also the industry he's in. I think, because each playbook will be different. I mean, you have entrepreneurs that will have success at 45, at 20, and then in different industries. And I think so. The magic one will come here and just like be the perfect playbook, and because at 20 you don't have a family, at 45 probably you have, and so you have different needs at those points. So
that's a good point. But I think you need to figure out your playing field. That's what you need to figure out, and that's for everybody's different, even like for your personal situation. So first of all, for everyone, it's find out who is your customer and how do they work, what do they want. You need to know exactly what is the type of thing that they would be interested in. And that goes further than, oh, I find this a really cool product, everybody's gonna love it. That's not how it works. You need to ask your audience, are they gonna love what you're offering them? Yeah, we figured that out by just doing stuff. We just reached out to organizations. We are into a lot of subsidized projects. And we also have like a lot of people or organizations coming to us and asking us for partnerships for cool projects and stuff like that. So you just need to figure out like, who are your customers, who are your partners, and how do you navigate all the channels that are there, from marketing channels to sales channels. You need to explore as much as possible, and as soon as you figured it out, it's copy paste. As soon as you figured out what works.
I love it, and I like your approach of keep doing, right? Like keep building. If you, I mean, with all these experience you have, if you can point out one failure that make you build all this knowledge, what would that be? That experience?
I think it's selling. And selling could be in different ways. So for my first startup, which eventually failed, It was a business to consumer product, was a website, a web store. I learned the business model isn't sustainable. It doesn't give us enough profit. So I learned by selling through e-commerce, people don't want it enough and people are not willing to pay enough for this product. The business model didn't work. With my current company as well, we tried different ways to sell and you find out, okay, this type of selling doesn't work and this type of selling does work, and you learn a lot from it. From selling, I think you learn the most. You fail a lot because it's hard to sell, but eventually when it works, when it clicks, you're like, okay, now I learned how to talk about, how to package my product, my solution, and I know via which channels and via which channels I shouldn't promote it. So yeah, I think failing with sales.
Similar question to you, Nico, to understand on the go-to-market of any of the collections that didn't work. What is the failure?
Very, very good question. I think perhaps it's too early to talk about failure, because we're still testing a lot of ways. But obviously, when you launch a watch brand in 2020 and now we're in 25, so we're already happy to be alive. But you also don't have the means of a watch company that is here, since 175 years old. For example, if you take Tiger, and so obviously you're trying to create a different route to markets. You try to be more agile and again also disrupt route to markets. One way we did it, and it's right there. We've had the chance of welcoming Leo DiCaprio in 2023 as an investor of the brand, and then here you change the paradigm of influence, and you accelerate your business in a way that is not typical, because we don't do endorsement. We wouldn't have the funds to endorse any celebrity worldwide, and so we've chose to take another path while being newcomers in the industry. We can create deals where we converge interests with high influencers in the world, and I think that's one of our most. I know I haven't answered your questions on failure, but I think that what comes to my mind, when you're talking about route to market for ID Genève, I think. But definitely, I think there's some there's some failures in the route to market too, and we're optimizing every day, with that.
I think we get the picture and the different businesses and how these actually give us value for as an entrepreneur to understand how the mindset of both of you is working. Let's move on to the pitch. Kenny, it's your time. Can you give us a pitch?
Yes, thank you. All right. Have you guys ever seen someone spinning on his head or walking on his hands, flying through the air, doing some cool acrobatic moves on rap music or hip hop music? That's what we call breakdancing. Breakdance is something that has given a lot to me. Since I was a small kid, I started dancing and got in contact with breakdancing. It allowed me to express myself. It allowed me to unlock my creativity. It made me a more confident person, and really, give me a space to be myself, and also make new friends and be part of a really beautiful community that shows each other a lot of respect and love. And it's something that gave me so much that it became one of my biggest passions, and it's something that I would like to share with as much people as possible. And as we say in breaking and hip-hop, each one teach one. So with Break For You, we're making breakdance accessible to everyone. So how do we do this, you might wonder, because breakdance quite a small sport / niche. It's quite small, but by adopting a very scalable and accessible approach to our business model, are making it accessible to everyone. We're partnering with cultural organizations throughout the entire country who get us into all the schools, where we do very cool workshops with kids, with youth, the older people, From there, we invite them and recruit them to come join our weekly breakdance classes, which are also very scalable. What we do is anywhere in the country, we can rent a place. We only need a smooth floor, so we can rent a sports place or a venue wherever. We get a passionate breakdancer who loves to teach and coach, and we help them set up their own breakdance class. So throughout the entire country, we can set up breakdance classes without needing our own physical dance school location. We just rent places. We do shows which everybody can enjoy. We're at events, we're at theater shows for everybody to enjoy. And we even do our own events where you can see kids shine, be creative, and get wowed by this very energetic, cool dance style. We're even making it accessible to people who have a disability. As of right now, we started a program for kids with a disability, with a handicap, to come join and get extra attention. We're partnering up with cool partners and making breakdance accessible for everybody. So if you want to be part of the rawness and cool power of breakdance, you can find us at breakforyou.nl.
Very nice. I mean, we can feel the energy that you love what you're doing, and that you want to exactly use that power and give it to the next person. And I think that's superb. Congratulations on your journey. I'm so glad to see young entrepreneurs also moving the world with especially dancing, which comes also very close to my heart. So I'm sold. I'm sold. What would be interesting, Kenny, is really to have more sort of quantitative information, such as the number of subscriptions. What are your financials look like? How do you make a living of it? But like more detailed, and how do you plan to scale also that, whether it's nationally or internationally? What have you achieved so far? And what is the next step also by the end of the year and also for 2026, for example?
So thank you once more time to both of you. We will see you on the road. And now, Kenny, let's move your community and ask them to vote. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day. So that's a wrap on the episode of Pitch Lab, where bold ideas meet the real work of turning them into impact. Now it's your turn. Head to the Friends of Bata LinkedIn page or use the link in the show notes and vote for your favorite Gen Z founder. Your vote counts for 50% of the final score. The other half comes from our mentors and jury. The winners join our Pitches of Honor Hall, receive hands-on support from our expert coaches and mentors, including myself and a Forbes 30 Under 30 founder, plus access to Let's Group Ventures Factory to sharpen their model, scale smarter, and cut costs. And yes, there is a cash prize too, because every milestone should be celebrated. So cast your vote, share the love, and thank you for supporting founders who turn challenges into growth. I am Enrique, and this is Pitch Lab. See you next time.